Hello, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm all right, actually. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. Yeah, not too bad. What's the latest?
What's the latest? Been doing some dog sitting, looking after the pups.
Great.
Uh,
You do that a lot.
yeah, as much as I can because I love it.
Yeah.
But the little pup that I was looking after last week, he's 15 now and he's going a bit deaf.
Oh,
And every time I go there, I think, oh, is this going to be the last time that I get to be with him? He's such a poppet.
no. I guess
I
you
know.
get to know them really well. You fall in love with them.
Oh, we do. They're like family.
And do you
How
have a
about
dog? You don't have a dog yourself or a
No,
cat or anything,
I
no?
can't have pets because I'm in a flat. But if I had a house, I never thought that I would be a dog person. But I think I would get just a little one,
Yeah.
just a small one that I can pop in my handbag and carry around with
Yeah.
me.
Oh, very sweet. Yeah. We've cats. We've plenty of cats around. Too many, in fact.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Well, we have Charlie, my husband, is the kind who will just kind of feed any creature that comes near him.
Okay.
So he started feeding the cats around, and then the cat population around us began to increase and increase and increase. And then we had to kind of get a handle on it. So we have our cat Colin inside, and then there's like four or five others that are kind of in and out.
Colin.
Colin, yeah, that
Oh,
was his name. We got him in the pet rescue place, and his name was Colin.
good name.
Yeah. And he's just a star. When he's just a wee pet. He's such a kind of a gentle soul, you can just tell. So, but the other ones are a bit feisty.
Are they? But
Mm.
when I think of Colin the caterpillar from M&S. Do you know Colin the
Oh
caterpillar?
yeah.
That's what I think of.
I think of Colin from Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, do you?
That's the Colin I think of. I guess it's a very English name, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a nerdy name, Colin, I
I
think.
suppose so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But cute on a cat,
Colin the
definitely.
cat. Colin the cat. Yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah.
so
So, sorry.
no, go on, go on.
I'm just wondering what are we up to
What
today?
what are
What
we
did we
doing today? Should
Yeah,
we get
tell
to it?
me.
Well, I was thinking, so I don't know how you felt last time after doing the Wheel of Life. Did you feel good afterwards?
Yeah, I thought it was a great session.
Yeah, I felt
Hope
quite
everyone enjoyed it.
energized. And but it was all about balance. And when I looked at my wheel, I think I said it was all work and no play. And I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of the importance of play in relation to the inner child. Because I think I might have said on here before that um, a lot of the clients I work with, they had inner children that were, well, that when they were children, they were asked to grow up quicker than they should have done. So play is really hard for them, but play also feeds into creativity, which feeds into the change and the change process and the healing process. They all kind of sit under the same umbrella of being open and allowing and being spontaneous and yeah.
Right,
So
okay.
what do you
Very
think about
interesting.
that?
Brilliant. Let's do that. So tell me, I have a pen in my hand. I tend to think better when I'm
Yeah, same.
um that's an interesting point that you were saying. So a lot of the people you work with, they've had to grow up quicker, which means that play isn't as accessible to them. Is that what it is? How
Yeah,
does
and
that, yeah,
it's
tell us about that.
it's uncomfortable. So when I work with families, parents in particular, you could tell the parents that were, we call it parentification. So you can be infantilized, treated like like smothered and babied, or you
Yeah.
can be parentified, which is you're treated like a mini adult at a very young age with too much responsibility. And often you see it, I think back in the 80s, it was a thing, like you'd be left in charge of your siblings.
Absolutely. And even the generation, I'd say before that again, that was you weren't even just left in charge of the siblings, but the siblings were raising the other siblings. You
Right,
know
there
what
you
I
go.
mean? In larger families.
Yeah. And I see that in Asian families as well, because I've worked with quite a few Asian families, and that's very common because they have, like you say, big families. Well, yeah, they have big families. So, um, yeah. So this whole and I just explain how I got brought to the concept of play, just how it showed up for me because I'm not like you. I don't have children of my own. I think if I was a parent, I would notice my own struggle with it. My memories of my
Right.
mum, always, she was always at the sink washing up with her back to us, and we would play like cards on a Sunday or board games at Christmas time, but anything that was like imaginary play, or well, because there were four of us, so we'd all play together. So my mum didn't play with us. And when I went to therapy, I learned this technique called sand tray therapy, and because a lot of my trauma is pre-verbal,
Okay.
my body remembers it, but I've got no cognitive memories. So we had this massive tray of sand, and then she brings out like Barbie dolls and play horses and shells and crystals and stones and bushes and fences and houses and trees, and then you just create like a story in the sand.
Okay.
And then it's very, very clever because obviously it speaks to your unconscious and your body's remembering what happened. And certain objects then start to become identifiable of, oh, that's your mum, that's your dad, that's your sister, or was that your house? And then the therapist always asks, can I move that one there? And then she'll move in it, and I'll go, oh no, I don't like it when you do that. Move that one back, put it back behind the bush. No, I don't want, and so there's this whole,
Wow.
but you sit on the floor opposite one another, so opposite the sand tray. So it's the sand tray between you, and you're on the floor, which is what you would do. You would get down on the floor and play with your kids, wouldn't you?
That's
So
really interesting.
powerful.
There's 10 different thoughts firing off here. Like I suppose firstly, it's reminding me of family constellations, when you kind of like get to experience. I think that's phenomenal, isn't it? I'd love to know more about that, and let's look into it more. But like being able to take yourself away from the situation and have that objective eye looking at memories, or looking at the way that you might identify, or the identity that you would have on yourself and the other members of your family, etc. All of that is so intriguing, But to go back to the basics, I suppose, you're kind of saying your mom didn't play. Like as a mother, I probably don't get down on the ground and play those imaginary games quite as much as I should. You know what I mean? Not because I feel it's not accessible to me, but because like life is so damn busy, and the pace that we live at is so fast, and there's so much to think about, so much to manage, that play seems a lot of the time like a luxury.
Right. So I was going to ask you, and I will ask you, but I'll say mine first. What I was thinking, we could start off by saying, when I say the word play, what does that conjure up in your mind? So I go, play time at school, not working. You can play when you've done your homework on a Sunday. You can play when your chores are done. Play for me is the opposite of work. So it feels frivolous and time wasting, and is something you get as a reward after you've done all these other things which are more important than play. But for children, and this is why it's hard for the parentified child, we don't always have to see it through the lens of that, but I'm just explaining why. That play is the most important thing. That is the language of children. You can learn so much. And when I work with children, I did learn so much from playing with them. That is how they communicate with you.
Absolutely.
So what do you get when I say play?
Okay, so what I think when you say play is creativity, music straight away, games, board games, and kind of like, sitting around playing, like kind of saying, right, we're going to play now. Ease, but I also feel adventure, very much adventure, and the beach comes to mind. You know what I mean? It's that kind of a place of freedom, I think, and like, it's not that I don't ever play with my kids, but I suppose in a way, I don't give enough time to the unstructured nature of it.
That's what it is. It's so I was saying, like, because before we came on, we were saying, is it creativity? And I think there's an overlap. For me, creativity, when you sit down to create something, you have an objective or an end goal in mind. Not always, but often you do. Like, I'm going to write a poem, or I'm going to write a story. I'm going to paint a picture of this tree, or I'm going to knit this scarf, or cook this cake, bake this cake.
Or you have, or if you're being creative, let's say professionally, you are aiming for something new, you're creating something, or you're something that's useful, perhaps something that you're going to offer.
Yes. In business, like creating a course, or like today, like we're being creative on here and recording this. But play is where we lose ourselves in an activity and there's no end goal. It's
Yeah.
just lose yourself in the activity, slow right down. And some of the things I wrote down were it's joyful, fun seeking, it's losing your inhibitions and letting go, it's spontaneous, it's a form of stress release, and it's relaxing, and it's this feeling of being unburdened from responsibility is what came up for me.
Yes. Yes, it's funny you say that because just last night I was putting together the summer schedule, right? So you think that when the kids are going to finish school, that because we finish early in Ireland, the kids are finished on the 24th of June for the summer,
Oh, wow.
right?
Wow.
So you kind of think, all right, so if you're coming to that, you think, oh, everyone's going to relax, but then we're continuing to work on. So I have to kind of go, what's happening? So there's always this classic parent like, what summer camps do you have your kids in this year and what's available and whatever, you know? So what I do is I put a kind of a calendar on the wall for the kids with all these little images so they know what's happening each week.
That's lovely.
And in August, I have 2 weeks, we're actually having a family staycation, right? Which is basically just, we're both taking time off work, myself and Charlie, but we're not going anywhere. We're not, going on a holiday as such. We're just going to be unburdened and have no end goal and have, reduce stress each day. We might go for a picnic. We might head to the beach, we might go camping and I think for me, there's definitely that element of adventure when it comes to play.
And that feeds into your value of freedom, because I remember we talked about that being your top value.
Yeah.
So that's really important. But I think the reason why we wouldn't necessarily prioritize play, let's say, like you said, is because there's so many other things that come before it. But actually, in this article I was reading, and I might share a bit of it in here, she was saying that we never outgrow our need for play, even as adults. In fact, as life becomes more serious and more responsible as an adult, our need for it probably grows. And so if we haven't had that, we haven't had the luxury of that or the freedom of that, like you call it, as a child, it is actually, there can be some resistance around it as an adult, is what I'm saying. And also because of the way that we're conditioned, like societally, like it's almost like what comes to my mind is you can't have pudding until you've eaten all your dinner or you've eaten all your veggies. It's that kind of mentality, isn't it?
Oh, there's definitely conditioning involved. And then as we grow up and we have more and more responsibilities, because even like as adults, I'd say when I was in my 20s, I was probably much more inclined to have a lot of play in my life. You know what I mean? But as you become more, you have more responsibilities, more commitments, whatever happens, whatever choices you make, I think you genuinely forget to play. You forget because it's all go, go, go Monday to Friday, and you're kind of trying to catch up with yourself Saturday and Sunday, So we literally just forget to kind of prioritize it.
We do, and like it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? To plan in unstructured play.
Exactly.
But I do think that as adults, that's something we must do. When I was working with kids, and I really notice it now that I'm not, I would be playing for 12 hours a week. Like when I had my coaching room, I had like bean bags on the floor. I had cuddly toys. I had my smiley thought cards. I had all the crystals. There was a fish tank in the corner. The kids would come in and it was so easy to get them talking because I'd say, do you want to sit down or do you want to have a look around? And they'd be like, oh, why is that changing colour? And what's this? And just through just exploring, like you say, the room and like there was just so much to feast your eyes on. It was fun. That they would come in and it would be, parents would be like, oh, they won't talk to you. And I was like, wait till you get them in my room, see what they do then. Because they used to love it.
Well, that begs the question, do we as adults need a playful environment? Do we need an environment that is not restrictive?
Well, do you remember, was it last week we were talking about blanket fortresses?
Yeah.
Or the week before, I can't remember. But that's something like that is like, I don't know, like we were really lucky. I had a playroom when I was a kid. So we had a room and it was like one wall was just full of boxes that used to open up with these big cushions on. And then they were all like as a bookcase above it. So you could either lie on the cushions and I used to just read all our toys. Well, I think it's because my mum hated the mess. So she'd be like, put everything in the boxes so that But and we used to make like runs for our pets. So we had hamster and guinea pig. And on rainy days when they couldn't go out in their pen in the garden, we'd turn all the books up, you know, like to make a tunnel so that they could run through all the books.
Oh, that sounds like really lovely memories.
Yeah, we did play a lot. We did play a lot. And so we're going to talk today more about that. We're going to talk about our play personality.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I had a look at that.
So I found this article, and one of the leading, let me just put my bins on because I can't see. One of the leading experts on the subject of play is Dr. Stuart Brown. And he says that play is actually a state of mind, not a specific activity, which in itself is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like how you approach life. Like, do you approach it all seriously, or do you approach it with playful abandon?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
When it comes to play, most of us think of it just as another way to kill time or to entertain ourselves. Things like board games, computer games, hide and seek, or whatever. But one of this lady who wrote this blog, I'll link it in the comments below or in the show notes. One of my main insights from Dr. Brown's book is that play is not just about the activities we engage in, but the mindset we bring them. To truly experience the benefits of play, we must cultivate a playful state of mind. Without it, any activity is just a mindless chore.
Yeah. So interesting. It's so interesting because I know we're getting to the play personalities. Will I tell you which one I got?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so mine came out as the explorer.
What a surprise.
What a surprise, indeed. And that makes perfect sense as you're reading that, because I'm thinking, like, at the weekend, we will always be saying, right, let's head off on an adventure. Like, the adventure is maybe go down to the beach. Like, you know what I mean?
Five in your house, isn't it?
Huh?
You know the famous five, Boney Blight, and they were always off on an adventure.
Yeah, we call ourselves a forest and four. Forest and four.
I love it.
Yeah, and like, that's because I'm just realizing now when you're reading that like the adventure, the unburdened aspect of it is because I think I'm getting away from the house where all my responsibilities are, where all of where my work is, my office is, my business is, my kids' needs, the schedule on the wall, like it's I think environment is absolutely massive for maybe the explorer type, let's say.
No, I think it is for an HSP, because this came up last week in the Wheel of Life when we talked about environment and how sensitive we are to that. And as you're saying that, I completely agree with you, because I'm getting out of here in my building site every day to skip off down to Pret to write, which is my, and it's exactly the same. And well, because we have what are they called, anchors, like associations with places, smells, routines and all of that. And as humans, like, we're very much creatures of attaching ourselves to things and making meaning out of them, aren't we?
Absolutely. It comes back to the conditioning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is so just on that conditioning, because I can't remember the exact stat now, the statistics behind it, but something I saw recently about, was it a study by Google or something, where they looked at 3 to 5 year olds, and there was 98% of them were considered to be geniuses or something. And then they looked at the same children several years later, and there was only like 12% of them or something. It's like we condition the creativity and the joy and the unburdened sense of things out of our kids through the way we educate them.
Oh my God, 100%. I asked my niece, I saw my niece at the weekend because it was her birthday, and I said to her, and she loves big school, call it big school. I say, how's big school? And she says, I love it. It's a secondary school. And I say, is it different to the other school? How is it different? She says, it's not as much fun.
Oh yeah.
She's got end of year exams coming up. This is her like second year, I think. End of year exams coming up. And I'm like, and my sister, who's a teacher, and she won't mind me saying this, is saying to my niece, don't put pressure on yourself. You work really hard during term time. You just do your best. It's not about what grade you get. It's just whether you're enjoying what you're learning, and to try and take the pressure off a bit. Because I think you're right. I think it comes from a good place. We're trying to give children responsibility so they can grow up and to be committed adults and, hold down a job and do what they need to do. But I think we can do that and not take away the sense of joy, the sense of creativity, the sense of fun.
I think so, you know, and like I have to mention, I suppose, my 5-year-old, who is like, he's just, I mean, how would you describe him? He's a little firecracker, but he's so unbelievably creative in everything he does. He's so curious, and like the play that he comes up with again and again actually blows my mind. It's like, oh my God, look what he's done with that. Like, you know, that it's his natural state.
Yeah.
To
So
be
you want to,
constantly exploring and trying, and it doesn't matter, but we get so caught up on like, don't be making a mess there, or don't be doing this, and I try to pull myself back, and it's like, oh, just let him get covered in paint, you know what I mean, because it's such a joyous experience for him, like, but I suppose it's just, how do you maintain that while also teaching him about the world, having some level of discipline so that we can get through the day and through the week. You know what I mean? It's finding that balance, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I think, Sinead, if we think, I don't know what the school is like at, but life is going to do that to him. Life is going to discipline him. School is going to discipline him. Work is going to discipline him. If he can have all that freedom, fun, and play at home, and that's what he associates home with, because that's his core, who he is, it will balance itself out naturally.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because he's a wee angel when he goes out into the world, you see. And everyone's like, oh, he charms the world and everyone loves him, and then he comes in home and he's just like a tearaway, and I think a lot of kids do that, don't they? They just kind of let loose and let go. And like, that's fine, but like it's having the balance, especially I suppose as a HSP, and then if my daughter's HSP as well, it's trying to manage everybody's needs around that. It's easier said than done, I think, when it comes to having a beautiful, joyous, creative space all the time. There's
you can't have it all the time. It would be like Christmas then, and then I don't think it would be joyous and fun. It would be
exactly.
But it's sort of peppering it in enough into daily life. And actually, when we talked about our play personalities, I found another article of like 70 ways of how you can bring play into your adult life. So I thought maybe look at some of those, and like maybe people could add theirs in and join us in that.
Brilliant idea. Okay, but tell us your personality, play personality.
My play personality is the storyteller.
Ah, of course it is. The author.
Yeah. So well, shall I say what they all are, and then give people the quiz to go and do? So there's the Joker. So the Joker's the one who brings all the laughter to everyone, don't take themselves too seriously. They like telling jokes and pranks, and they thrive on the energy of making other people happy. Now, I don't know how to say this. The kinesthete, because it's kinesthetic, isn't it? It's the kinesthete or the kinesthete. Loves to move their body, always on the go. They feel most alive when they're physically active, or whether they're doing sports or dance or yoga, and they're often in their element when they're pushing themselves physically. So that's the movement. Then the explorer, this is you. The explorer, Dora the explorer, all about seeking out new experiences. And that's a bit like your son, isn't it? Like, they're always up for an adventure and enjoy exploring uncharted territory. They love trying new foods, meeting new people, and traveling to new places.
Yeah.
Then there's the competitor, loves to win, always up for a challenge. They want to play games and create competitions and thrive on the rush of victory. And they're often in their element when they are competing against others.
Interesting.
Yeah, my dad's probably a bit like that, actually.
I'm just thinking of a few people. Yeah.
The director. See, this is partly me as a child. I like thinking I'm going to get this one, or the storyteller, because I'd be the one like going, right, we're playing libraries. You get all those books from over there. Like, I don't know what to do. So the director loves to organise and plan, and they're often the ones who throw parties, plan events, and take charge of group activities. They enjoy being in control and are often in their element when they're leading others. So before I became an introvert and got into therapy, I was that girl that would be like messaging everyone and saying, what we're doing on Saturday, where are we going, who's coming, how are we going to get there, what time. Like, I am, but I'm not like that anymore, but I was like that.
Like, because that resonates with me, but I wouldn't see that probably in a play sense. I think I like, I've been very good at organizing events in the past. I worked in event management, and, so I would nearly associate it with being good at my job, like, organize these things. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that that's play for some people.
But then you do your kids in the summer. That's a director of play.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Well,
yeah.
but I know as a HSP, right, that I want to know what's coming up. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
So that's why I offer that to them. And the reason that I put up all the pictures and stuff is because obviously James is only 5, so he's only learning to read now. You know what I mean? So I just started getting a bit creative with it and showing what the summer could look like. Do you know
But
what I
that's
mean?
so exciting. Like as a child, like faced with all those pictures, and you can pick,
Yeah, I
like
suppose.
having choice, which is lovely for children because a lot of the time we're telling them what to do and giving them instructions. So to have choice is freedom. It ties into that value of freedom
It
again.
must do. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're both a bit of a director, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we run our own businesses, so maybe that is a
Yeah.
bit because entrepreneurs are playful. Come on, we have to be playful.
100%.
It's part of our job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we've got the collector. See, I think this is the nerdiest one.
Hmm.
I don't even know any collectors. Do you? The collector loves gathering and collecting things, whether it's stamps, coins, or experiences. Oh, I suppose boys with their football stickers. I can think of a few boys that
Hmm.
they enjoy immersing themselves in their hobbies and often have an encyclopedia knowledge of their collections.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What is
Yeah.
that? Right.
Then
Okay.
Then you've got the artist or the creator. The
Mhm.
artist or creator loves to make things, whether it's through painting, sculpting, or crafting. They have a deep appreciation for beauty and enjoy expressing themselves through their creations. They're often in their element when they are bringing their imagination to life.
No. Fabulous.
That's nice.
Music could come into that, surely.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
absolutely.
it?
I think
Yeah.
it does, don't you?
Um,
And then the last one is the storyteller, loves to tell stories, whether it's through writing, acting, or performing. They enjoy sharing their experiences with others and often have a gift for captivating audiences with their words. You see, I have stopped doing my other podcast, my Wild Heart Diaries. I did a
I
last
saw
segment
that during the week.
and
Yeah.
wrapped up because it just felt like a good place where I was at with everything to
Yeah.
stop it. But since I've done that, there's been so many times where I've wanted to pick up my phone and share because I'm such a natural sharer. Like if I discover stuff, and then I thought I'm going to be doing all that with Sinead on the other podcast, so I'm still
Yeah.
got a chance to
Yeah.
get excited and go. Have you seen this? And have you seen that? Like I
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. So that's lovely to know that part of who you are is you at play, basically.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, this is really interesting today, I have to say. Like, actually, do you know what I was doing all day?
what
So, my sister is a producer, like a
right,
film producer, and
right.
her husband is an editor, and they are currently in the process of setting up a film studio here in Donegal in the northwest of Ireland, right? And it's like proper, like impressive stuff, like a massive warehouse, and anyway, it's all in the making. So fingers crossed it all comes together. But today I was helping her speak to a group of young students who are interested in filmmaking, and they were on a filmmaking summer camp. And, the people who were there with the students were so creative. Like, they were like, some of them were camera people, some of them were writers. One of them was like a street art performer and a clown and all this incredible creative stuff to engage children and all, so this is really apt today. Like it's mad, like that we're talking about it because sometimes I suppose you'd think the creative arts is where creative people go to have maybe, I suppose I'm coming
Yeah.
at it from the career side of things, but like, there's so much creativity in every way, in a different way to express yourself as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful exploration today to kind of, hopefully people listening will kind of say, well, where is the play and creativity in my life? And
Or
that,
even in my job, in my work.
or in my job, exactly. And maybe
Yeah.
it's not quite so obvious to them because it is actually play at
Yeah.
work. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, talking to you, I'm kind of realizing that a lot of what I do is an element of play, but maybe I've put the label of work on it. Do you know?
absolutely. And the other thing I was thinking of is like when we think about what comes easily to us, like you talk about your zone of genius, which is what comes easy to you. We're conditioned to think that work has to be hard, aren't we? Like if you're not working hard, you're not trying hard enough, you're not doing good enough. But actually, like what my business is evolving into is all the things that come effortlessly and easily to me. And that is not cheating. And I had beliefs around that, underpinning that, that was saying you're cheating, you're lazy.
Absolutely.
You
It's
know, all
so
those.
true. Like, and I've seen it time and time again with clients who would come to me and be trying to figure out, say, their next career move, you know, and I would always start with like, well, what's your, you know, what's your heart's desire? You know, what's that little gem of an idea in the back of your head? What is it that brings joy? And then that's the thing that a lot of people go, yeah, but I can't really make money from that, or I
Right.
can't really do. And I swear to God, I was going to say 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, these people have come back around. It may have taken them 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but they
Yeah.
have all come back around to the very thing that they're brilliant at and that feels like play.
I wonder if this is something you could work into your like initial session with a client, like if they're stuck on, you know, because sometimes clients come to you and they've got their thing and
Lisa?
they've got bills to pay, but like there must be some people that come to you that go, there is more to life, but I'm not quite sure where to put myself.
Absolutely. Sorry, you cut out there. That's why I was a bit,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Do you want me to say it again?
Say it again, would you?
Yeah.
So,
No, I was saying when I came to you, I was very clear about what I wanted to
mm,
be, but almost like shameful about it and going, I can't do that because I've got to do all this other stuff
yeah.
that, you know, pays my bills and this is what people know me for. But surely there must be people that come to you that go, I know there's more to life, but I don't know where to put myself.
Oh yeah, lots and lots of people are in that place. Absolutely. Because they have been in a reactive place for, you know, many, many years, sometimes 20, sometimes 30 years of reacting to maybe a jobs market or to where they thought they should have been,
Yeah.
should land, you know, because of a certain qualification or that kind of thing. Absolutely. And like I start every process with every client. I start in what I call the no but zone, right? So we're dreaming here, we're visioning, we're, you know, it's the dream big kind of workshop that I would begin with. But you know, talking to you today, I'm kind of thinking I think I need to add more of that play creative angle into that element of the dream big kind of workshop that I do, because
I'm pretty
it's
sure
not
most
all in
people
your head, you know.
it's not, and I'm pretty sure people coming to you are all highly creative because
Yeah.
HSP. So feeding this into the HSP thing, because we don't like to be rushed and we don't like transitions,
Yeah.
even though we're an explorer type, which is probably the most less rigid of all of those types, I would say.
Maybe.
Maybe a director's quite rigid as well. But you know, like less fluid, let's say.
Mm.
But like, I do think it has to be put in the diary. That oxymoron of unstructured playtime is scheduled in the diary, because otherwise when are you going to do it? Because it's going to be like, it's going to end up like the self-care thing, like it will always go to the bottom of the list because something else will always be more
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. It's funny though, because like, you know, unstructured time in itself for a HSP, I believe to be essential. It's like, it's not negotiable. Alone time and unstructured time. It's just not negotiable.
Yeah.
But my unstructured time, I tend to try and have early in the day, kind of when I get the kids to school and I close the door, have my coffee, and it's like, okay. And I just give myself a little bit of a breather there. But to allow time for the creativity, yeah, it's a funny one. This has come up for me with Marina recently, around inner authority, right?
Right.
So this is where I'm doing kind of, the Akashic records and really trying to explore those, I suppose, patterns that we tend to all fall into. Do you know what I mean? And one of the patterns that came up for me through meditation was a resistance to structure, right? So in a way, you can have so much resistance to structure that you end up with not a whole lot of freedom.
Right.
Does that make
Yeah. Right.
any sense? Sorry, maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, you're not. it's absolutely, I totally get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So, to be creative nearly feels like, if you're going to put structure on being creative, I think I would end up rebelling against that.
Right, because
Get me?
it's
Because I'm
making
too
me think,
creative.
it's making me think about sex, which is again going off on tangent, but it's not, because sex is best when it's spontaneous, right? But like most
Yeah,
people, I don't know, because I'm not in a relationship and haven't been for a long time, but I would say most married couples probably have to factor it into their diaries because they're busy. So then they have a,
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
it's
Well, you have
very
to be intentional with it. Yeah.
it's the similar thing, isn't it? It's like, sorry to bring it back to that, but that's what I was
No,
making.
absolutely. It's creative in
That
itself.
the most the most spontaneous thing that you'd want it to be spontaneous. But then just is this a symptom, Sinead, of the world that we live in, where it's gotten so freaking busy and crazy and scheduled, and like was it like this when we were growing up, or did we just not, were we just protected from it because we had other people managing it for us? But I just don't
Mhm.
know if it's the online element that's just sped everything up.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to talk to, younger generations about what their experience is around that feeling of creativity and how they factor it in. But like the young people that I spoke to today, they have beautiful vision and
Oh,
they some of them wanted to be directors, some of them want to be writers, you know what I mean? And it didn't seem to phase them. You know what I mean? I think that when I do look at young people, I do think that they're all a lot more tuned in or aware than we would have been at that age. And is that a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing.
no.
Um, but I guess when it's taken to the extreme, then maybe it is. I don't know.
Well, I was looking at the overlap between the artist and the creator, because for me, I don't. It's that last element where she says artists are in their element when they're bringing their imagination to life, which is what I would imagine a filmmaker is. Like you're taking something out of your head and you're putting it on a screen, but then that comes through the storyteller, through the writing, the acting, and the performing. I think those two are really closely linked, because a couple of
Well,
people that my book and my therapist said, I can see you writing a film because the way that you think and
ah,
speak and the way that you conjure up images, like or emotions, like in your writing, it could easily be a film. And you think, oh, so those two kind of, maybe, I don't know, do you think they
well, I
overlap?
mean, to be honest, what I learned today really was that the filmmaking process is such a collaborative process. So
Right.
you're going to have all the different play
No.
personalities, all the different creative people together. You know what I mean? All those ones we've listed out. They're all
Yeah.
going to be on set to make a film because you have the creative side of things, the writing, the directing, the acting, but then you have the production. And it's
Yeah.
never going to happen. The creativity is never going to happen without the people who make
No.
it happen. So they have a different skill set and a different play personality that's coming in. You know what I mean? So it's incredible. So I
Yeah.
suppose it makes me think that creativity is at its best when it's collaborative.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. Well, that's why we've come together to do this, because
Exactly. Yeah, because we like these conversations only happen, we can only explore in this way because we are bouncing off each other as
yeah,
such. Yeah. Yeah.
it's lovely, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah, that's brilliant.
Um, one of the other things that I read as well, just to add in, is that as HSPs, we must find our own way of bringing ourselves to play, which is why it's interesting for us to like kick around different concepts of what play is or what your play personality is, because otherwise it goes back into that being too structured, where it's right or wrong. So going back to the sand tray, when I used to do the sand tray
Mm.
with my therapist, she wouldn't touch what I'd put in the sand tray. She would ask to touch it. And then she would say, don't overthink it. Just pull the items that you're drawn to and put them in the sand. This was like the first time I did it. And then I did it lots of times after that. And I used to say, can we get the sand tray out today? Because I really like,
Um,
but like you got to find your own way, because I think then you veer into that perfectionism, which I think a lot of HSPs have, where
mm,
you've got to feel creative enough to do something, or you've got to have it a certain way to be able
yeah.
to. And actually, it's back to that spontaneous sex again. You just need to just rip all your clothes off and dive. The brain today.
You do have sex in the brain today. You're absolutely right. There's a lot in that.
Book. It's not dirty. I've been reading a romantic comedy book.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. But I think, for HSPs, right? Creativity is something that we can access very readily, because of the depth of our experience and that kind of soulful place we can get to quite easily. I think it's easier for us to get there maybe than for non-HSPs. Not that non-HSPs aren't creative, my God,
no,
but that deeper kind of soulful place, I think, is the best way that I can describe it.
Rich inner world. They like our imagination is primed for creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an innate quality in us, isn't it? The other thing. Yeah,
but just to finish my thought on that one, sorry. It's kind of like,
sorry.
No, not at all. It's the perfectionism thing, just to agree with you, is absolutely there because like, for me, it's kind of maybe around music and songwriting and that kind of thing. And I feel it, the draw to it so much, but then I don't go to it enough because, well, it's the time of day is not quite right, or I don't have enough time, or I'm a bit distracted by this, or I'm a bit crap now and guitar used to be a bit better, or whatever it is, because I haven't been doing it for so long, you know what I mean? That's why for me singing is something that I can just play with, you know what I mean? So, and I don't feel the element of perfectionism in it because I'm not being technical with like I am with an instrument. So I suppose the point being that I'm trying to make, sorry, it's long-winded, is that to match the perfectionism with that soulful place, we have to play, and not expect it to be the way we want it straight away, to have that novice mindset, that kind of, playful mindset like a child would have.
Because and one of the greatest writers who I think was good at that, and I know he's a bit controversial, but I'm going to bring in old MJ again, Michael Jackson. He had the awe. He used to say he used to look at the world through awe and wonder like a child. And when he was writing songs, that was when he was at his most, he was at his most playful. And I think if you read his books about how he used to make music, and I find it quite fascinating, the process, he just used to play. I mean, he lived in that big ranch.
Was his childhood not kind of taken from him though?
Yeah, it was.
So how does that fit into the parentification that you mentioned?
Yeah, I think though, I think it's a bit different with him. I mean, I don't really want to diagnose him because I can't, because I didn't know him. But from what we see with him, I think he had severe levels of trauma where he was actually stuck developmentally at a certain age, is how I see it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't hard for him to access that child because he was a celebrity from like 5.
Yeah.
So that's when he was traumatized. So that 5-year-old little boy was often much bigger than the adult Michael, who had to deal with all the business side of things, which he didn't deal with because he was in debt. And he's supposed to have people around him taking care of that, but people around him were like sharks and they all just wanted to be with him for his money. Bad, isn't it?
Yeah, but at the same time, he was able to access that genius place that maybe, that stayed with him, because regardless of I suppose your opinion of him, I mean, the music is exceptional,
isn't it? And
I think everybody agrees with that. Oh, Lisa, we're losing you again. No, your sound is gone now.
Is it?
Oh,
hang on,
you're back.
Am I back?
Yeah, okay. You're back.
I'm still here.
Okay.
All right, we'll just carry on where we were. No, we were just saying you can separate the artist from the other stuff, can't you? I think.
I guess so. Although that is another topic, isn't it? It's like, is it art or is it the artist? You know what I mean? That is another topic.
But he is the poster boy for the inner child, and so I think I was quite fascinated with him at one point, and it's when I was working with you, wasn't it? Because
of Man in the Mirror. Remember, we spoke about it a lot. Like,
because of he is the poster boy for the inner child, and and he probably channeled a lot of his pain. You could sort of see as his music matured, like it started off very sort of like all the Jackson 5 was very kind of disco-y and dancey, and then, you know, by the time he got to Heal the World and all of that, all the pain was being channeled through the music.
I guess so, absolutely. Yeah.
But children and animals are such a beautiful way to access your play personality type. That's where the magic is, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I feel very inspired now, Colin. I feel inspired now to kind of to just embrace, you know, I suppose I'm thinking like with the kids at the weekend, you know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a kind of an argument for embracing other play personality types that don't come as naturally to you or something, you know?
That's a really good idea. Oh, which one would be the most challenging one for you then?
Read them out again.
The Joker, the kinesthetic, I don't know if I'm saying that right, the moving one, the explorer, the competitor, the director, the collector, the artist or creator, the storyteller.
No, you see, it's not as if I'm suddenly going to say, oh, I'm going to get real competitive this weekend when there isn't a competitive
That's not in me. I don't operate like that.
No, I just don't function that way. It's like, you know, sometimes I wish I did, so that maybe, you know, I'd love to beat my own record. No, I mean,
Right.
it doesn't even occur to me to be thinking like that. So I guess the answer is no. You have a certain natural flow with your playing creativity, and that's just the way it is, like, you know. But I feel inspired to maybe just, as you say, just get on the ground with the kids a bit more, you know, instead of needing it to be structured, like now we're playing this game or now we're doing this. Do you know what I mean? So but it's like, you're so right, or that is it, Dr. Stuart Brown, so right. It really is a state of mind. It really is mindset and where you're at. Because when I'm in holiday mode, I wouldn't even think twice. I'd be on the ground. You know what I mean? Or I'd be more relaxed into it. So it's definitely, it's such a good point. That's what I'm taking away today. State of mind.
I was gonna say a good thing to do with kids to bring out your silly side, it's a bedtime thing, is to make up skits with the stuffed animals.
Oh yeah.
Really good way to get them to tell you how they feel as well. Like, well, what's Mr. Crocodile? You know, what sort of day has he had, and what did you know, like, and just be silly with the stuffed animals.
Okay, I must try that, because James was all about I Spy there for a while, going to bed. And I was saying to him, I was like, do you think maybe we might go back to stories now soon enough? You know, it's like I Spy. So maybe we'll start some storytelling with the teddies. That sounds fun. Absolutely.
What would I Spy be as a play? I wonder if children have all of the personality types, or maybe they veer to one, you know, as they around about 7 or 8, because you're pretty much done at 7. That's like your formative years. But I wonder what I Spy, what would that be? Would that be the artist or the creator? Because that's your imagination. No, it's sort of like a guessing game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it just comes in
The explorer, maybe. Yeah.
You know, but like, you know, it's not about the game, is it? You know, it's about the connection and the few minutes you have together. Like, you know, that's ultimately what it's about. Like,
you're his I Spy buddy. That's what you are.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, at least he can't, you know, wreck any walls or anything when you're playing I Spy.
Oh God.
There's no paint or markers involved, or, you know, material.
No. So do you want to call it a day there, or do you want to look at a couple of ideas of how we can bring in?
Do you know what I'd love to do is to visit those lovely cards you were going to show us.
Okay,
because you know, could we finish off with a bit of smiley cards? Yeah.
So these are the cards I used to do with the children at the end of the session. Now, if we were being really playful, but we can't because we haven't got the space here, is what we used to do was the slide. So we get the cards and we'd whoosh them across the floor, and then one would flip over, and I'd be like, "Go and get your card. That's your card."
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
So we'll pull one for you, and one we'll pull one for you, and then we'll pull the people listening at home,
and one for you.
Okay. see what let's see what messages want to come through around play.
So these are cards that you created yourself.
I made them. They're like positive affirmation. There you go. There's your one, Sinead. Right out of the I love to learn.
Oh yeah, total nerd.
It says, discover we are all good at something. Think of all the things you really enjoy and do more of those.
Okay.
That's your one.
Fabulous.
Right, let's pull one for the lovely people at home listening. Actually, that love to learn comes up a lot for HSPs because we are just naturally very curious, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, for the people at home.
That deeper, there's a level there we always want to get to. Oh, what came out?
They have got I learned from my mistakes. So obviously it's play because it's Lego. Oh, when you stand on the Lego, that hurts, doesn't it? Yeah. But I think this is about not trying to do it perfectly if you're listening at home. I think this is about being spontaneous, like we were saying, and just being a bit silly with it.
Yeah. Or it's playing without the expectation of it having to be a certain way or having to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be outcomes. Like drawing, that's a nice thing as well. Like as a kid, I would get really upset because I'd start a drawing and then it wouldn't be perfect and then I couldn't rub it out. I'd screw it up and be like,
yeah, I can't draw the thing. It was the same. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's about going, actually, can you turn that mistake into something else? You know, like it says, swap the word mistake to learning. So we're back to learning again. Well, that's a massive theme for today.
Okay.
This is how we learn best, through play, because our brain is relaxed and then we can absorb what we need to absorb, isn't it?
Yeah, fabulous.
Life teaches us what we need to grow. Yeah, life is a big old lesson, isn't it?
Yes, without a doubt.
Right, I'm going to pick one for me and then I'll let you go and be with your...
Okay.
Lovely. Oh, my one's blown out onto the floor. Oh,
what's yours?
It's about play through connecting with other people because I've been such a loner for the last 10 years. I am a good friend to others.
Oh, there you go. Connection.
List what makes a good friend. The only way to make a friend is to be one. Yeah, so this is about play, connect through, like you're saying, I Spy with your son, like having fun with other people, and also letting my guard down and trusting and just allowing. Well, I've had fun with you today.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And those cards are amazing. Like, did you kind of I'm always intrigued when people create their own pack of cards. Like, did you kind of channel that through? Was it through journaling or meditation, or did you just play with it?
because I loved the cards, the grown-up cards so much, and they helped me so much in the healing. I was like, I just love to make it, because there weren't that many decks out for kids when I made mine. There's loads of them now, but like I think I was one of the early adopters, as it were.
Okay.
But inside you get 2 blank cards so that you can make your own smiley thoughts. There's still some packs available. I'll put a link in below if people want to buy them, because they are definitely. But no, it was I had an idea in my head. Like, I thought, I can't draw the artwork because I'm not that good of an artist, but I thought, I know loads of photographers, so I was like, I'm just going to buy a batch of 40 photographs and I'm going to get an illustrator to draw over the top of them, and then I just wrote the words.
Lovely. So, yeah, perfect. Well done. Amazing. Okay, so yeah, it was very playful and fun today. Thanks a million.
And let's ask the people who are listening if you'd like to share with us what your play personality type is. We'd love to know. Type it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening, you can I think you can write to us on Spotify or send us a message on Spotify if you're listening.
Please do. It'd be great to hear from our listeners. Absolutely. And are you going to put that link for that quiz? Is it a wee quiz?
It's Lindsay Brayman. I'm going to put her play style quiz in. And actually, I think I'll put the articles in that I've been referring to. So
everything we referred to. Perfect.
Oh.
Okay. And same time, same place, very soon.
Okay, I'll see you then. Thank you.
Bye.